could see that these will be the two powerhouse teams in NWSL. But what separates
Welcome. So we've been working on our side control this week.
Sorry.
Nice. We've been working on side control this week. We're going to continue to do so. Today is Wednesday. We'll do gi today, gi Friday, no gi tomorrow. Reminder that we do have our yoga stream available Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon with Chelsea. And 5 days a week, Monday through Thursday, we are here for Jiu-Jitsu at 5. And then on Fridays, we're here at 2. Just a quick heads up, Monday the 27th, which is like 2 weeks away, give or take, we will not be streaming at all. It's actually Chelsea's birthday. We will not be doing any streams on that Monday. So please make sure to wish her a happy birthday on the week of the 27th. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So do you have all the other chats open and everything?
Yep.
Okay,
So
cool.
I
So
made
that you can see?
all the chats are all the chats are in one window now.
Okay, cool.
Well, aside from Discord, but no one's on there.
Cool. So we have a couple minutes here. So a couple of things. We have oh guts everywhere.
That's from when I was cosplaying.
Yeah, I know. So we had a no, I don't want to talk about that. So if there's anything that anyone wants to go over, like I said, please feel free to post on any of our pages, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, whatever. Be more than happy to answer any questions that anybody has. And remember, the thing about Jiu-Jitsu is it's not necessarily there's a right and a wrong way to do things. There's just different way of doing things. So I can give you my take on how things are done. The thing that I did realize, and I have trained with a lot of different academies, a lot of different professors. The things that I realized a lot of is that there are a lot of times there's more than one way to get to the goal, how you want to get there. So there's more than one way to do an armbar. There's more than one way to do a triangle. There's more than one way to do pretty much everything. So the cool thing that I've had the fortunate experience of is having multiple professors give me their take on how things are done. And I'm not trying to say that one is better than the other. I'm just saying that you can have 15 different black belts in the room, and you can have 15 different ways to get to the same conclusion. It doesn't make anything right or wrong. It's just whatever works best for you. And when you talk to a black belt or when you get instruction from a black belt, it's oftentimes what works best for them. I like to, the way I was taught, especially at the first academy, I trained with Mika Philly until I got my blue belt, and then I moved to Colorado. Mika was very good at kind of showing things that worked for him, and then he said, and I've seen it done this way, and I've seen it done that way, and I've seen it done a different way. And so he would try to show it, and so it was really nice to see. It just kind of opened my eyes a little bit, at least in the beginning. And when you're a white belt and even a blue belt, even in the beginnings of purple belt, there's a lot of stuff. The more you train, the more you realize you don't know much of anything. I'm no different. I since getting my black belt, I feel that there's a lot of stuff I don't know. And there's a lot of stuff I still need to learn, and there's a lot of stuff I still want to do in the realm of jiu-jitsu. So it's awesome because it's a never-ending journey. It's as much as you put into it is what you'll get out of it. And the more you train, the more you practice, the more you realize that there's a lot of ways to do things. And it's not necessarily one is better than the other. It's one is better for one individual while another is better for another individual, and that doesn't take into account the things like flexibility, age, weight, gender. All these things are really different from person to person. Everything is different. You're not going to have, and you can have two people that weigh the same weight but are completely different body types. Meaning you can have a short squat guy that's 160 pounds, it's like 5'6", 5'7", and then you can have someone that's like 6'1", 6'2", that's long and spindly, that's super uber flexible, that it weighs weighs the same 160 pounds and can do things completely different than that person that's the shorter, more compact person. So it's just a matter of finding ways of doing things that work best for you. So whenever I give any sort of input, it's typically what I find works best for me. And now it doesn't necessarily mean that I can't change things or do things a little bit differently. But the truth is that it doesn't matter. It's just whatever works best for you. And there's a Bruce Lee, who is widely considered to be one of the best martial artists to ever live. Was very much into using what worked and get rid of things that don't. I'm not as cut and dry with that. I think there's a lot of things that don't work for me, but are good pieces of information that I can kind of tweak a little bit that will work for maybe not necessarily me, but maybe work for somebody else. And like I said, it's a matter of what works best for you, and that's the great thing about jiu-jitsu is it's a nonstop journey. It'll take you as far as you want to go, and then you can go even farther. So it's a good thing. It's good for all of us. I can't see the time. I'm blind as that.
5:04.
Close enough. We'll get started. All right, very good. So we've been working on side control these last few days, and we're going to continue in that vein. I want to go over some basic, or not necessarily basic, but some interesting ways of setting up submissions from the side control position. So we're going to go over triangle from side control. I personally have longer legs. I like using my legs in a lot of my attacks. My legs are 100 times stronger than my arms, just like everybody else. But my legs are a lot stronger, and I feel a lot more comfortable. Like I can squeeze something with my legs for a really long time, probably at least a minute when I'm squeezing really hard. I may even be able to hold it longer when I'm squeezing as hard as physically possible for me. I can do it for an extended period of time. Well, with my arms, I can't do it for as long. So I really like triangles. I'm not saying it's my go-to move, but I like them, and they work well for me. So I like to use a lot. I have a lot of different positions I like to try to get my triangles from now. And then the next thing we're going to do is probably maybe an arm lock, or maybe an arm lock of some kind, and I'll do more explaining on that in a minute. But let's start with our triangle. So we're going to get into our side control position here. I can't see over in the middle. Okay, good. All right. So once again, with gi and no gi, and we're going to do this from two different angles so you guys can see, but with gi and no gi, there's a lot of crossover between the two. Oftentimes, your setups can be a lot faster in no gi because there's a lot less to hold on to. There's a lot less to slow you down. There's a lot less friction, especially when you start getting sweaty. While with gi, it tends to be a little bit slower in realization. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be slow in general. It just tends to be a little bit slower. The thing where gi is more slower developing is because you have handles, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to start with our side control triangle. So I'm going to get into my traditional side control position here. My hand underneath the head, my knees nice and wide, my hand over here. Now you can either go hand over hand or you can cup or whatever, that doesn't matter. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten up my hand that's underneath her head. What I mean by shorten it up is I'm going to come over I'm going to bring my hand out from underneath her head here, and I'm going to grab a hold of her lapel. Now, when you grab a hold of the lapel, it doesn't matter if you grab high here, like I'm grabbing on by her collarbone, or you can just grab it right behind the head. The whole purpose of me grabbing here is so that I can pull her up just a little bit. That's going to clear, I need that space for my leg. So I need to be able to lift up her head. So if it's more comfortable for you to grab by the lapel, great. Or excuse me, grab by the collarbone, great. You can do it there. If it's more comfortable for you to grab right underneath her head where I can just pull up, doesn't matter. Either way, whichever works best for you. But I do need to make sure that I'm able to lift her head up off the floor. If I just lift here, keep your head on the floor, please. If I just lift here and go like this, it's going to be hard for me to slip my leg underneath her head here. So I can either grab by, and so if it's hard for me to lift like this, now I'm a lot stronger than Chelsea, so even if she forces keep your head down, I can still lift her up if I want to. That is obviously not going to work with someone that outweighs me or probably even the same weight as me. So I need to be able to switch my hand movement. So if I go here and I lift and I'm not getting any space, I need to be able to slide down and be able to lift up a little bit more, or be able to slide down closer to her neck. So from here, I'm grabbing a handful of material. Don't worry, we're going to do this from another position here. In this hand, this free hand here, I'm just going to slide it up and I'm going to pin her arm down to her chest. So if I'm here like this, I slide my hand up and I pin the arm down. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift her head up and I'm going to swing my leg over her head, over her shoulder. So from here, I lift up, and now I'm going to take my outside leg, I'm going to bring it across here, and I'm going to swing it over here. We're going to move in a second. But from right here, I'm just going to close up my triangle. Now, when a lot of people get into the mounted position, they want to roll. I'm going to talk about why I don't like rolling in a moment here. But it is worth mentioning, her elbow is caught underneath my hips. So I'm going to reach, I'm going to grab a hold of her wrist here, and I'm going to do this from a different angle, don't worry. I'm going to lift my hips just enough to pull her arm out. So I lift my hips just enough to pull her arm out. Once her elbow is clear, now I can go to finish my triangle. I'm going to make sure that my leg gets tucked deeply underneath her head. So now I can readjust. Don't worry, I'm going to do this again from another angle. From here, I lift the head, I pull, I go to close up my triangle. So I need to close the triangle here. And now from right here, remember with a triangle, if I'm north-south, meaning if I'm even with her here, if I go to lift, I'm going to have a hard time finishing. So what I want to do is I want to create an angle with my triangle. Since I'm in the mounted position, I'm just going to move my hips this way and tighten it up. And she taps. I'll show you, we're going to do it again. Head facing towards the camera, please. Scoot down back that way a little bit, please. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So from here, my hand shortens up. I grab a hold of the lapel. I can also cup the back of her head, whichever you're more comfortable with. Doesn't matter. It's just we need to remember, we need to get her head up off the mat. From here, my free hand then comes up and I pin her arm down. Now, I need to lift and pull. So I'm going to lift her head up, and now I'm going to swing my leg over her head. So I need to shift my weight, swing my leg over her head here to this position. Now, you guys can't hear it, but Chelsea's grunting quite a bit because I'm putting weight on her chest as I'm doing this. Remember, space is my enemy. Space is her friend. The more space she has on the bottom, the easier it is for her to escape. So I want to try to keep myself as close to her as possible as I'm doing this. If her elbow is tucked here, remember it's not a problem. I grab a hold of the wrist. Ideally, I want to see if I can kind of get my fingers down and grabbing underneath her elbow. Elbow is always going to work better than grabbing a hold of the wrist. From here, I'm going to pop my hips forward just a little bit, and I'm going to pull her elbow through here. Now, from here, grab a hold of my ankle, and now I'm going to I'm gonna pull over just a little bit. Now, this is what I was talking about. I could theoretically, we're gonna roll. I could theoretically roll to get her into my traditional triangle position with me being on my back, meaning I go here to here. Now, I don't personally care for doing this. The reason being is that when you're, even as a white belt, when you're taught your escapes, specifically your triangle escapes, her first mode of escape here is posture, meaning hands on the hips, head up nice and high, driving her head up towards the ceiling here. So I'm not saying that she's going to be able to do that, but basically what I did is I rolled her into her first escape position, meaning being able to get her head up to the ceiling. If I'm sitting on her chest, getting posture is not an option. So that's the main reason why I don't like rolling in these, especially, don't get me wrong, I love to get in the triangle. If I can get it from the bottom, awesome, I'll take it there too. But I'm just saying, if you set it up from the top, why would you give up position? Don't give up position, stay on top. Just finish your triangle from the top position here, so we're going to roll back. So, from here, I already got her arm out. I'm going to reach, I'm going to grab a hold of my own ankle here, and now watch, I lean here, and I can just basically sit on my hip. Chelsea, try to roll over towards me. I can basically sit on my hip here and come back, and it's really hard for her to recover. Even because I have position, and that's the thing, is that when we get our mounted triangle, we don't want to give up position. So I'm going to go for my finish here. So if you guys see, I'm kind of north-south with her. I want to get to my angle. So remember, my triangle means my butt needs to get this. I need to line her arm up with the middle of my chest. So I'm going to twist here, and now I can just squeeze my legs together, and I get my tap. Do you have any questions on that? You're going to do it here in a second.
No, but if you walk me through it.
Yeah, of course.
It's hard to see.
No, totally. So we'll do. We're going to do it twice. We'll do the same thing. We're going to do it from this position and then from my head facing the camera. So we're starting in our traditional side control position. Her hand behind my head shortens up and grabs a hold of either my lapel or the back of my head. Her other hand now slides up over the top of my arm. And you're just going to pin it down. No. Put your hand over my wrist. Hand over the wrist. Don't grab. Just place your hand over my wrist. There you go. Yep. Push it down. There you go. Good. Now you're gonna push my arm down. You're gonna pop your chest up, and you're gonna swing your leg over my shoulder.
Do I keep my legs down here, or can I do I post out?
Don't post out.
Okay.
So remember, you need to lift my head up so you can swing your leg over my shoulder. There you go. Let's try that again. From the top. There you go. Good. Much better. Good. So you're going to lean forward. You want your knees on the foot. Try to get your knee on the foot. There you go. Good. So my hand is really short here. You got to step over my, this hand is really short here. Sorry, wrong one. So you're going to reach. You're going to put two hands on the mat above my head here. You're going to reach with one of your hands, and you're going to grab this wrist, or if you can, slide all the way down and find my elbow. Perfect. Pop your hip up. Pull up. Perfect. Good. So get the arm across. And now we're going to look to close up the triangle. So you're going to grab a hold of your own ankle. You're going to lean your body weight over this way. You can post. So look, when you post, you got to expect me to want to roll that way. So when you post, this hand needs to be down farther that way. So now when I roll that way, it's a lot harder. Look, put your hand up there.
I see what you mean. So almost
down there. Yep, good. So now when I try to roll, I can't get it. Good. Go ahead to close this up.
Do I have to get my
So you're not sitting backwards, you're pushing forwards. So from here, you're driving your hips up underneath my chin, and you're bringing your knee to the floor. There you go.
Makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Good. Push the arm across. Good. Now find your angle, which means you want to line your chest up. So you're going to pivot this way. There you go. Good. Lock your legs together. Squeeze. Good. Let's do it again.
That doesn't feel very tight, but it's also really hard for me to get my. Can we do my other side? That needs really bad.
Sure.
I'm having a hard time locking my legs over, like crossing my ankles.
Okay, so you got to pivot a little more.
Okay.
So hand comes out from behind the head. She goes to pin my opposite arm. She's going to post up, swing, and pull my head. So when you come back. So try to bring this part of your thigh right up here. Take it all in one piece, and more forceful is better than less forceful. There you go. Good. Only problem, you lost my hand.
I lost your hand.
So come back.
I'm having a hard time with this one.
So this is the hand that you want. This is the arm that you're going to choke me with,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that means your hip needs to try to get underneath my elbow a little bit more. Instead of stepping over my elbow where you're like this, try to come up underneath my elbow.
So more of a slide than a
Yes.
than a full overstep. Okay.
Better. Good. Better.
And then this is already popped out, so I
Uh-huh.
need to pop it out. Yeah, I'm having a hard time here.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's not better actually.
Find your ankle. Squeeze. So if you need to, grab the back of my head. Lift. Good. Very good. So, so when you get to the mounted triangle, it's a little bit more. I don't want to say more difficult, but it's just getting used to being in the position. I remember when I first started learning it, I was like, "There's no way." When I first learned a triangle, it was off my back, and so when I got to the mounted position, I was like, "This is impossible. There's no way. It just doesn't work." And it's just practice. I don't think it's necessarily flexibility. I think it's just body positioning. If you're flexible enough to do a triangle, you should be flexible enough to do a mounted triangle. It just takes practice. So, and so this next one we're going to do an arm bar. We're going to do a near side arm bar. So we did a triangle over this arm. Bring my leg over this way. So we're going to do an arm bar on this near side arm. This one right here, an arm lock. Yeah. So from here, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, eyelash just fell right directly into my eye.
Oh man, it's uncomfortable.
All right, so my near side arm bar. So same idea, same vein. I'm pulling my arm out, but this time instead of grabbing a hold right here, I'm just going to follow her all the way to her elbow. Meaning my bottom hand here is going to slide all the way out, and I'm going to find the elbow here. Once I find her elbow, from here I'm going to lift her elbow up, and I'm going to pull my far side knee up into her armpit. So from here I lift up, and now I bring my knee that's by her hip here, and I'm going to slide it right up into her armpit. So I'm going to pop up a little bit here. So I pop up, I slide my leg right up into her armpit. Now this is important. My knee is high, meaning my knee is up over her far shoulder here. I'm not trying to bring, if I go short, meaning if my knee is right underneath her chin, or worse yet, my knee is in her arm, this is not going to work. If my knee is in her armpit here, this is not going to work. You're going to need to get your knee wide. So if it helps you to think of it as bringing my my shin directly, or my ankle directly into her armpit, all the better. So when you're doing this, make sure, I'm actually leaning quite a bit of my body weight on my hand here. If I was actually doing this live, I would sit directly on Chelsea's chest. I want to make it uncomfortable for her. So from here, I'm going to take my far leg and I'm going to step over her head. Now this is going to be a little bit of a weird position as I do this, but it's a very effective finish, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So from right here, I step over her head, and now watch, I sit and I slide, and I'm hugging everything nice and tight here. Now, if Chelsea tries to get away, it's going to be really hard for her to do so because I am nice and tight. I do not have hold of her elbow anymore. I'm right over the top of this, and we'll do this in a different angle. I can't really see, but I think you're not be able to see very much here. But I'm pinching her hand into my armpit here. Now, from right here, I'm gonna drive my hips forward. I'm gonna arch my back, and I get my tap. We're gonna do this in a different position, so let's get your head towards the camera. So when we do this, like I said, it's a similar setup, and that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to link things together that have similar setups, so it gives us more options from one position, or more options from a specific setup. So from here, once again, I shorten up my hand from behind the head and I look to find her elbow. So I come here, I find the elbow. I'm going to lift up my hips and drive my shin, aka my ankle, right into this same side armpit. So I lift and I drive my shin right up into her armpit here. From right here, I'm now going to sit back. My hand on her elbow. If I have to, I'm gonna just shorten up my hand. So from right here, I step my other foot over her head, and I slide down. I'm no longer holding on to her elbow with my hand. I'm actually pinching with my armpit here, and I had to let go because there's not enough space for my hand underneath her arm, and my knees pinched together like this. From here, I'm bridging my hips in, and I'm arching my back. So this is where I get my torque on my arm bar. I have this pinching on the far side here, so I'm keeping everything nice and tight, making it hard for her to get away. From right here, I bridge in, and I get my tap. So remember, the motion is here. I'm like this here. I'm sorry, go right in your face. I'm here, and I go forward with my hips. I'm driving my hips forward, and I'm arching my back. Let's do a shot. Is this side okay? You want to do this?
Yeah, that should be fine. I was just getting my knee underneath your feet over there.
That's fine. There. Good.
And then
You're going to lean. You're going to step over my head. You pinch everything nice and tight. Slide your butt back down. Good, right there. So this side is
oh, I'm pinning you here. Okay.
hugging. You're going to hips and arch your back. So from here, one more time. She shortens up her grip, grabs a hold of my elbow. She, other knee. Near side knee drives through. Notice how she leans up on me here. You want your body weight on your partner. She steps over my head. She sits back. She's hugging with this far side arm. There you go. Keeping everything nice and tight. Driving your hips forward, arching your back. Perfect. Very good. So we did the triangle from side control, and then we did our near side arm lock from side control as well. We're going to continue in this vein this on Friday. Tomorrow we're going to continue on what we did on Tuesday. So you'll have a series of a couple attacks from the side control position on two different styles of setups, or two different ways, or two different setups for the same position. We went over on Monday, we went over movements. Today we're going over two submissions, and then Friday we'll go over two submissions of the same setup. And then Tuesday we went over a series, and then Thursday we're going to add to that series, or add to that same line of attacks. Thank you guys so much for coming today. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to contact. It looks like there's a new comment there in the...
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do. Okay, very good. Go ahead.
Please like and subscribe. Follow us depending on wherever you're watching. But we really, really, really enjoy doing this for you guys. We're really happy to be here. We know that everybody's stuck inside right now. The best way to support this, we are doing this for free. The best way to support the channel is to like and subscribe to it. We are at Heart and Soul BJJ on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The Discord channel should be right below and in the description. And if you guys can't make it to any of the live streams, but you want to follow along with anything, all of them are available afterwards. I think they take like 6 to 8 hours to render, but then you guys can watch them on your own time. Last but not least, we are here Monday through Thursday for Jiu-Jitsu at 5 p.m., Fridays at 2 p.m., and I teach a yoga class Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at noon Pacific Daylight Time. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys. Let's call it.
Awesome.
Moose.